Okay, I want to ask for all of you to get the word out on this video. Post it to everybody you know, because it's something that's serious, and this isn't for me. My channel's benign. I used to be a coin guy and precious metals guy when I could afford it. Now I just talk a little bit about keto and silly stuff. Nothing important. My channel's not important at all. I don't have a great personality. I'm not handsome, but I do have a partner who is very interesting, and I'm very proud of her. And she is a frontline nurse. She goes by Filipina Tiger, and she really has a good channel, like mine, and it's been demonetized by Google AdSense. And I want to talk about that because we need to get the word out, because this is affecting minorities, people of color, people that aren't wealthy around the planet. It's a big issue. So she wasn't making a ton of money, but what happens is there are people all over the planet that are vloggers just like Miss Filipina Tiger. Now she does some really cool stuff. She was one of the first to raise the alarm with COVID-19. She's a nurse here in Qatar, and she really got a lot of backlash and had a lot of videos removed from YouTube because it wasn't really popular to talk about it last year, early in February and March when she first started vlogging about it. A lot of the people who, for instance, I guess didn't want us to talk about it because they were hoping it would just go away, and it didn't. So anyway, she was on the forefront of that, and she had some really important videos early on, and then she did a lot of news on it. And she puts herself out there every day doing the swapping and helping people. So what she does is important, and she vlogs about it, which I think brings a lot of light to what the frontliners do. So I'm thinking there's a big miss in the community now with her not being there since she's been batted down by Google AdSense. So then what happened? Well, she also went viral briefly and became monetized. We're not fans of blood sports at all. We don't believe in animal fighting, but in her community, they have horse fights. And those horse fights are more like sparring. And if you go online and look at sparring, there's men sparring on YouTube all day long, and it's monetized, and it's not a blood sport. Well, with her horses, they would compete in a controlled fashion for the amour of the mare. I like that, the amour of the mare. They were on ropes. They'd be pulled away. They would be pulled away, never getting hurt because they didn't want to hurt their property and they didn't want to hurt their horse. They loved their horses. It's a tradition for 500 years from when the Spaniards brought horses to these far-flung regions in the Philippines. So anyway, she had a video that took off about one of her horses that was winning in this sparring contest, basically. And she got her site shut down briefly because of it, because it's called a blood sport. Now, we don't believe in cockfights, dog fights, any of that stuff. It's terrible. Now, this horse fighting is not fighting. They don't get hurt. As soon as a horse is like, you know what, that mare, she ain't worth it, they kind of move away, and as soon as they leave the ring for more than 2 minutes, it's over. And so these things only last maybe 3 minutes. The dominant stallion intimidates the other one. They have some biting and kicking, but they don't try to hurt or kill each other. They try to intimidate so that they can have the strongest bloodline win, which is what happens in nature. So anyway, she nearly lost her page because of that. And now, to me, I think that's cultural appropriation. You have, and I looked at LinkedIn this morning. I looked at the Google team that handles AdSense and the Google team that handles YouTube in, I think it's San Bruno, California. I looked at all the names and the faces. They're all young guys that are as white as the driven snow. They're millennial guys who I think racially appropriated or culturally appropriated this blood sport idea that you can't have horses fighting. So that was her first major warning. because of the horse fight. So, she removed it. That was the thing that she did. She removed the video, and so she continued doing her vlogging, which is great. And again, mostly focusing on the frontline type activity. Now, then she branched off, doing other fun things, cool things. I mean, she's got a great channel. She was asked to produce a pin that Google AdSense sent to her. So we went to the post office here because where she lives in the Philippines, forget it. You're not going to ever get it. You won't get it. It's rural, it's poor, they don't have mail delivery. And I can relate to that. It took me about 6 months to get my pin. I don't live in a great area in the United States. And it took me a long time. And I tell you what I had to do. I had to actually send an attorney general complaint in the state of California last year against Google and Google AdWords because they never sent it, and they demonetized me briefly. After I kept re-asking for it, I never got it. Finally, a week after I did my attorney general complaint, I got the pin. And I was able to put it in, and I got remonetized. So at that time, my channel was pretty much dead anyway, since I'm not really doing what I do. But the thing is, Miss Filipina Tiger, she's still doing relevant videos. She's still working as a frontliner, and what she has to say is important. So I want you to tell everybody on the planet about what happened to her. Now what's wrong here? The problem is Google AdSense is using an archaic way of verifying someone's credentials. They can do a on-the-phone, which they already do. They do a on-the-phone process where you plug in the number to verify who you say you are. But then they have this additional step of sending out a pin in the mail. A pin in the mail. Well, I just told you it took me about 6 months to get mine, and I live in a differing neighborhood where sometimes you get your mail and sometimes you don't. But not a poor neighborhood, just a differing neighborhood with a wide range and mix of diversity. Now, there's a lot of people overseas who are getting into vlogging who are in poverty. People in Asia and Africa, Latin America. There's a lot of poor Americans who live in bad neighborhoods who don't get their mail ever. And I'm telling you, and I've worked in Africa, I've worked in Asia, all over the place. If you go to these places, it's not like the US. The mail, it comes sometimes. Usually it doesn't. So this archaic idea that Google and Google AdSense has to send a pin to somebody and think that they're actually going to get it in a timely fashion in order to be monetized, it's absurd. Now, I also think that they're probably not trying to be racist and discriminatory. They're probably not trying to be that way, but I don't know. I mean, you've got these millennial kids who've grown up with everything in the lap of luxury, and now they work at Google AdSense. Sorry, I looked on your website, and I looked on LinkedIn, and that's what you are. You're, on the average, about 60% of them, I did a straw poll, were white in their late 20s and early 30s, about 60%. There was a little bit of diversity, but that was mostly it. Now, these are kids who've never, ever fathomed the idea that they might not get their mail. They get their mail. Mom and dad gets their mail for them. It comes. They know Joe the mailman, who's like family. So they've grown up in a culture where the mail comes. So now they put this rule on that doesn't apply to 90% of the world. It applies to 50% of Americans who grow up in the lap of luxury. 50% maybe. The other 50% of Americans who are living below the poverty line or are struggling, their mail isn't reliable. Their mail comes when it comes. It comes when it comes. So there's better ways to get your mail. So, bottom line, I'm upset that Filipina Tiger Eyes got demonetized. Really upset. But I'm more upset with what it says about the idea of people of color and people who aren't wealthy who are trying to vlog and they don't have that opportunity because Google and Google AdSense prevents them. I mean, this is a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. To have to rely on the mail service to get a pin in order to be monetized is borderline racist and discriminatory and has no place in giving someone the right to make money online. It's wrong. It's an archaic way to do it, and people need to stand up and shout and say, Google, why are you doing this? It's wrong. The only reason I got mine was because I'm small potatoes. I'm nobody. Nobody watches my videos. But Filipina Tiger Eyes, what she does is important. She's a frontliner, and she's giving people tips on how to stay healthy and how to stay educated and how to not fall for all the hoaxes and how to stay healthy. She does important stuff. She's a health freak. She does a lot of stuff on how to stay healthy, how to do high intensity interval training to really be healthy. She does stuff about your diet, how your diet affects your immunity. She really has cool videos, really cool videos. So I'd like to have anybody who watches this, send it to everybody you know, and hopefully it'll land on the desk of anybody at Google AdSense. I mean, it's an easy fix. I don't think that they want to prevent people from posting good content. I don't think they want to prevent poor people, people of color, people that don't make a lot of money, who need this kind of second and tertiary income to take care of their families, to not have that benefit. I don't think they really want that. I don't think they understand, though. They have this paradigm that, you know what, Joe the mailman is going to bring my mail as he's done for the last 50 years for everybody in my neighborhood. They don't realize that where Miss Filipina Tiger Eyes lives, in a remote area of the Philippines, which is very poor, where the primary mode of construction is bamboo, and the way to get to her town, her village, is on horse or a motorcycle maybe. They don't get mail. So it was sent finally many times to her accommodation in Qatar, and it was triple verified that it was the right address through the Qatar Post. And by the way, the Qatar Post people said, you know what, everybody complains. They don't send them here. If they do, we never get them. So AdSense, I guess maybe they're trying to save money. They don't send it overseas, and they don't realize that 90% of the world cannot receive mail. So it's a real problem. It's a discriminatory practice that they're displaying, and it's going to be a class action lawsuit that would probably be substantial enough to put Google out of business, because they're preventing 90% of the world from becoming vloggers. And it just takes one smart attorney to put one and one together and see that he's going to be very rich trying to support all these people that are trying to vlog. So they don't send these things out to Qatar for some reason. I don't know why. They don't send it to rural areas. They don't send it to areas of differing economic status. And the people at Google AdSense are all, and I'd say all, 60% are millennial young white men who don't understand that mail isn't reliable in most of the world. They just think, oh, we'll just send this pin here, and it's too bad on them if they don't ever return it. And they don't have a phone number, they don't have customer service, they don't answer emails, they don't answer feedback, they don't answer anything. The only reason I got a response and got it sent after 4 attempts was because I made an attorney general complaint because I got angry. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to show Ms. Filipina Tiger Eyes how to do a complaint through the Attorney General also. And I'm actually going to, if I can't get some attention around this and get this fixed, find an attorney that would take her case, because this is a class action lawsuit if they can't fix this. And it's so easy to fix. There's so many ways they can verify who people are before they monetize them. Relying on the mail around the planet is not sustainable, and it's discriminatory. It discriminates against people of poverty, of people of color, people who live in conditions of poverty around the planet. It's a discriminatory practice, and it needs to be fixed. So Google AdSense, you need to get your act together, or a lot of people more powerful than me are going to catch wind of this, and they're going to sue you. And it's going to be a big lawsuit. You're going to lose a lot of money. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe that's nothing to you. That's probably nothing for the trillion that you're worth now. But hundreds of millions of dollars will certainly take away some of your bonuses. And bottom line is it hurts people. I know you're fat and happy in Northern California. You're loving your latte at work and your foosball and all that stuff that Google gives you there, and your free gourmet lunch. And you don't realize how the other half lives. The other 90% lives, to be specific. You don't realize that your stupidity when it comes to these pins is costing people from being able to take care of their families. People that have really good content. There's a guy who wants to talk about education in Cox's Bazar, a Rohingya refugee who wants to talk about that. And he can't get monetized. There's people in Africa who are complaining because they can't find work because of COVID-19. And they can't get monetized to talk about it. There's people that talk about environmental disasters all over the world, and they can't talk about the environment and the issues affecting them and get the support that they need because they can't get monetized. Because they can't get a pin, because where they live, the pin will never, ever arrive. Or Google just decides, you know what, it's not worth it for me to send it to this country because it costs too much. Doesn't matter. If they want to get monetized, tough. They can go to Facebook or something, or they can try something else, which is really the cavalier attitude that they must have. Because I know it's allegorical, but the guy at the post office here told us nobody gets it here and everybody complains. Nobody gets it here in Qatar, and everyone complains. And there's 2.7 million people that live here that are poor people from Asian countries who are trying to make some extra money to take care of their families. And they can't get their pins, so they can't get monetized. And they probably live in a place, they call them squatter areas or far-flung areas, where mail doesn't arrive. So what's basically happening is Google AdSense is preventing much, if not most, of the planet from getting monetized. It's a racist way of doing business because these people are of color, they're poor, and the one thing they all have in common is they don't have reliable mail like you have with those millennials who work at Google AdSense in Northern California. And I'm hoping that I trigger all you millennials and you post this all over saying, look at this mean old poor white guy complaining about us millennials. And I hope you all virtue signal and talk about how bad and dumb I am and all that, so it gets attention, so that somebody with some common sense will talk to the Google board of directors and say, you know what? Why do we send these pins out? Why do we prevent the people who can't get mail reliably from ever being monetized? Why are we preventing 90% of the world from being monetized? That doesn't make sense. It's not helping our brand. It's not helping YouTube. It's going to put YouTube out of business eventually because people will just go find something else. And they're doing it. I mean, people are going to Facebook and figuring out how to get monetized there. They're going to TikTok and getting monetized there. So the writing's on the wall for YouTube and Google. If they can't get this fixed, they will go out of business. They will. And you're saying, oh, that's $1 trillion company. They'll never go out of business. Well, they will. They will if they treat people as bad as they do and if they racially appropriate their own ideals that everybody gets the mail. Everybody gets the mail on a regular basis from Bob. It just comes without thought. And don't realize that most of the planet doesn't get mail on a regular basis, especially people that are below the poverty line, and even in the United States. People that live in places like I was living that don't have great mail service, and in some cases the poor mailman was intimidated to come to the neighborhood, and the boxes get broken. And I mean, of course, it's a federal offense, but the feds aren't going in and making sure the mail gets delivered reliably in the bad neighborhoods. I can assure you that. So if it's not reliable in the United States, it's not going to be reliable anywhere else. So please get this out to the whole planet because this is important. Thank you very much.
Vlogging.